Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown. And today I have a Dear Profiler Pat. If I am dying, is it okay to date? Now, actually, nobody actually sent this email to me because it is open. If you want to send an email, send it to profilerpatbrown@gmail.com and ask your question. Ask what you would like me to advise you on. And again, I do say this, I'm a profiler. I'm not a psychotherapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So there you have that. But I have a lot of experience in life and also experience in profiling situations and people over 30 years of work. This question, actually, I got from an article from the Daily Mail, which doesn't say much, but I was kind of blown away when I read it, and I thought, I have to talk about this. I just have to. Okay, so this is what I read. Actress Shannen Doherty, age 52, is, they put a little, they didn't put these quotes, they put this, I don't know what that even means, open to finding love again after revealing stage 4 breast cancer has spread to her bones. I'm pretty sure I'll meet somebody, hopefully soon. Well, I guess so. Now I want to say this right up front. I've done enough media interviews to know that I'm not necessarily represented correctly. Okay, I'm going to put a link below to a YouTube video which she's speaking in, and it has a lot of very positive, hopeful things for people who are struggling with what she's struggling with. And I think it's just really nice to see. So go look at that because I found it heartwarming. Okay, concerning some things were concerning, but also heartwarming. And I know people who are suffering with diseases. That some terminal, some questionably terminal, some just don't know what the future holds, can need that kind of hope and support. And I think she expresses that well in her video. But I do want to read you from the article because I think there's also the issue of responsibility to yourself and to others. And I'm going to talk about the issue of if you are dying, should you date? But also, and later in the video, I also want to talk about what happens if you're dating someone for, like, let's say 6 months and then they get sick. What do? Are you responsible to be the caretaker? What if you marry somebody 20 years older and you've been married 1 year and they become ill? What if you're young and you've gotten married and somebody becomes ill? Okay, I want to talk about those things because they're really difficult subjects to talk about because, well, nobody really wants to, because there's always so much emotion involved. But let me go through the article first, comment on that, and then I'll go through the other issues as well. All right. She says in this article, Shannen Doherty, well, she doesn't say, this is the Daily Mail, so again, a grain of salt. Shannen Doherty is open to love again after sharing a difficult update on her 8-year battle with cancer. And she's had breast cancer. It already metastasized to her brain. And then she has a surgery and she survived that. She survived a long time with really tough diagnoses. But now it's also, she's stage 4, gone to her bones. Not a good thing. All right. The 52-year-old actress who revealed that her stage 4 breast cancer has now spread to her bones told People, she also told People, okay, she's an actress, so she's going to talk to the media, on Wednesday that she is up for dating again. I was not ready at all before 3 weeks ago, but then something happened. There's always a trigger, just a moment that you have. Someone says something to you, your ex says one thing to you. She had 3 exes. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm good. And I have closure and I can move on in a really healthy way. I would say 3 weeks ago, you had this trigger and now you think everything is changed. I'm going to say that's a human response to fear of losing life, losing your life, leaving this planet, having very little time left, or at least you don't really know exactly how much time, but it's frightening. So she's having a response. And is it a healthy response? It depends. Sometimes, it doesn't hurt to be delusional. when you're suffering in a way that makes you very sad. If something makes you happy in those conditions, maybe I'm just going to say bully for you, but I want to read further. Even though she's looking for love again, Doherty wasn't sure she wanted a safe relationship with someone she had known a long time, or she was looking for something new and exciting. All right. Despite her ongoing health struggles, the Heathers actress was optimistic about finding someone right for her. I don't think I'm going to be single forever. Well, she hasn't been single forever. She's married 3 times, and she only got divorced like I think 9 months ago, as of this video. I have to love myself. Yes, you do, and reckon with the past. We all do. Before I can move forward, and now I'm pretty sure I'll meet somebody hopefully soon. All right, let me stop here. What does she mean by dating? What does she mean by finding someone? All right. We have a responsibility to ourselves, but we also have a responsibility to others. We are not alone in this world, and our family, our friends, and even people we don't know, we have some responsibility to them as well. What happens if she starts dating again? And if one of you out there has this similar issue, I feel for what you're dealing with. And I know that you might be back and forth on different ideas of what would make life worthwhile while you're here on this planet. And we all have that because we don't know how long we have. But sometimes you do know how long you have, or at least you have a good idea, and it's not extremely inspiring, shall we say. So should you date? All right, let's look at the possibilities of what dating means to somebody who has a terminal illness, stage 4, it's already in the bones. I'm not saying there's not miracles. I'm not saying maybe she's going to be one of those freaky people who beats the odds. She's done well so far. Maybe she'll live another 10 years. Generally speaking, with stage 4 cancer in your bones, you don't make it that long. You're lucky to get through the year. So here we go. What kind of dating are we talking about? 1, you go on Tinder and say you want to have a hot time. All right. That person has no emotional connection to you. You have no emotional connection to them. You just hop in bed and do something. I'm not for that, but at least it's a very temporary situation without emotions involved. Let's say you put out there that, you're looking for somebody, and somebody comes to you and they want to be with you and they want to make love to you, have sex with you. They might have a paraphilia, because there are those kind of people out there who like to have sex with people who are dying, people who have some kind of ongoing illness, people who they like them if they are in wheelchairs or missing legs, missing arms. They like that, not because they like the person who happens to be that way, but because they get some cheap, creepy thrill out of a person who is in that condition. Do you want that? Is that who you want to have as your new date? A creepy person who only likes you because you are dying, and every time they have sex with you, that gives them a big fat thrill? I wonder if she's going to die while we're doing it. You don't want that. That is, I can't imagine anybody would want that, but you got to be careful because that's out there. All right. What about 3? What about meeting someone new, being honest up front? I mean, hopefully you're honest up front. It would be horrible to meet somebody new, not even tell them what's going on. So they're like, oh my gosh, I really like her. And they start dating, and they think, oh my gosh, this is my future. She's wonderful. And then, 3 months in, you go, oh, by the way, I have stage 4 cancer. I probably won't be around long. That is deceptive and cruel, because you're leading somebody on to think they have a chance for a relationship. And we never know how long a relationship will last. It's true. We never know if someone's not going to get hit by a truck tomorrow, or we are going to get hit by a truck tomorrow. We never know how long we're going to be on this earth. But if you actually do know and you don't tell that other person, that's not a very nice thing to do. So, okay, so I'm just not going to tell you I'm ill. Okay, but Shannen Doherty's out there. Everything's all over the internet. Everybody knows your situation. Well, at least most people should. I'm pretty sure anybody who dates her might just go into Google and find out, oh, she's got cancer and she's stage 4. Okay, so let's say she meets just a nice person, and he just likes her, really likes her. Because, sometimes you can meet a person who's ill. Let's say somebody's going to the hospital because his mother has cancer. And while he's there, he runs into Shannen, and he's like, he just loves her personality, and he just really goes for her. So she says, oh my gosh, I have a last chance at love. I'm going to pursue this. Is it right? Even though he knows, is it right? Is it right to help that person develop very strong feelings towards you, only to have to deal with you, everything that you're going to have to deal with in the future? They're going to have to deal with your illness. They're going to have to deal with whatever treatments you're getting. They have to deal with you dying. Is that really okay? And my thinking on that is no, it's not. Because you have some crappy luck right now. You're in a bad way. Do you want to put other people in a bad way too? Do you want to make their lives miserable? I mean, misery does love company. It's like, hey, I'm dying, so I want you to suffer with me. Is that okay? And I just don't think it is. I think when we struggle, it's nice that we have family and friends and loved ones who support us. But it's also, we have to be a little careful about not enticing other people into our lives only so to make them suffer. If you already know that, perhaps this is not the time to entangle somebody with you, where they're now going to have to really deal with a heartbreak. I don't think that's really kind. It's hard. It's hard to deal with your own heartbreak of losing your own life. But to have somebody come in and you bring them in, and oh, I forgot to mention this: pity sex, pity love, pity dating. Somebody goes with you because they feel sorry for you, because they know you want something in your life before, you're hoping to have more, that last feeling of love and affection. So you get pity sex and love. That's not good either. What do I think you should do if you're in that condition and you have a very small chance of living very long? I'm not talking about somebody who's got stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. You've got hope there. You do. But when you're at stage 4 and they're saying, you're getting close to hospice care, I think at that point you focus on the loved ones around you. You focus on spending your days as well as you can to the end of your life on this earth. But you don't bring other people into it to cause them grief. I just think that's highly cruel. Now, she also goes on to say she'd like to be a mother. And I'm like, she goes, it doesn't matter how much time that child has on earth. At least they've got you for a while. I'm like, no, that again is extraordinarily cruel. We're not talking about even adoption. You could give the child a chance to have a family and have a mom who loves, and then you disappear in a year. That again that's excessively cruel. Life is hard enough without people doing that to you. Okay. Anyway, I want to go on to the second question that came up in my mind because of this. What about when you're with somebody? Okay, somebody gets a diagnosis. Now, if you get a diagnosis and you're a married person. I had a son-in-law. Well, I have a son-in-law. I have a son-in-law. He was diagnosed with cancer. It was stage 3C. And it looked scary. It looked very scary. Like, would he make it? He was only in his 40s. And he had a wife and a child. And it was really a rough time. My daughter stuck with him. She cared for him. She was there for him. She was his wife. And he was the father of her daughter. And all I can say is, he's one of those lucky ones who's made it past 5 years and in total remission. I don't know what tomorrow brings, but a lot of people don't make it to 5 years who have a stage 3C cancer. They don't. He had a rough time of it, but he made it through. And, every time he goes for one of the, the tests and things, it's like, and then, he made it through. He's made it 5 years. So my granddaughter's had him for 5 more years. and hopefully another 5 years, and hopefully another 5 years. Hopefully he'll live on for a good long time. Of course, my daughter did not dump him because that was her husband and the father of her child, and she was there for him, as she should be. Now, what happens if you marry somebody? Let's say you're in your 40s, you marry somebody who's near 70. You do one of those because, well, he likes a young thing and you like a thing with more money. Okay, now that's happened. 3 or 4 years into the marriage, the guy gets sick, very sick. Maybe he's got, I don't know. Let's pick something. COPD. He's got problems with his heart, and he's going to go downhill little by little until he doesn't make it any longer. Maybe it'll be 6 or 7 years, but it's constant downhill run. Now, somebody with COPD says, "Hey, I've been here for 20." Okay, I'm just making up a scenario. Now, what does that person do? They're in their 40s, and now they're caring for somebody for the next 10 years who's just going downhill, and they've only been married to him for 1 year. Are they responsible to be the caretaker for the next 10 years? Is it because they signed the document? Which is why I always point out, it's important to understand the longevity of a relationship, what comes before it when you make vows. I was married for 25 years. And since I had been married for 25 years, if I was still married and my husband became ill, I would stand by him till the very end because he's my husband and the father of my children. But if I were wife number 3 to that guy, because I'm not married to him anymore, and I hooked up with him when he was closing in on 70 and he got sick, I don't have the 25 years of marriage or 50 years of marriage. My parents were married for over 50 years. They stood by each other because that's the way it was. They married for life. And of course, they stood by each other. They lived till they were 90, and they were great, great people to each other. But what happens if you hook up with somebody late in life and you hardly only been with them for a year and then they get sick? Do you stick by them and ruin the next 10 to 20 years of your life being a caretaker? Because some of those guys, older guys, marry, what do they say, marry for a nurse or a purse. Younger person usually marries for money. But I'm going to do a whole nother video on relationships that have big age ranges. And do I think they're okay? Some circumstances, yes, but many circumstances, no. That's another video. But, all right, what happens if you're dating? What happens? What happens if, let's say I'm 68. Let's say I meet a guy and he's, 72 or whatever, 73. But, as we get older, we have more and more chances. The risk level gets higher. You have a risk level at any age, but as you get older, the risk level for something going wrong gets higher. So now I've dated this fella. Let's say I've dated him for 6 months, maybe a year. And we're not married. We live in separate houses even. And he takes ill. He comes up with whatever he's got problem with, something serious. And he is in bad shape. And he's going to be in bad shape for maybe years. What's my responsibility? We're not married, but I've been his significant other for 6 months to a year. Do I just say, sucks for you, and walk away? Or do I have a responsibility to a person I'm dating to take care of them on a daily basis for the next many years of my life as they go downhill? We're not even married. And I don't really have an answer for this stuff. I'm just saying, this is why I think the person who becomes ill, the person who gets the bad roll of the dice, has to be caring for the other people around them and not use them because they're in a bad way. It's one always appreciates when friends and family and significant others, whatever you want to call anybody, come and step up to the plate and help you. But then you have to step back yourself and say, am I just is it just unfair that I'm making them do these things? Can I come up with another situation? Can I hire help? Can I, whatever I need to do? Can I release them from the bond to say, look, when you hooked up with me, we were both healthy and having a great time, and we weren't married, and we just thought we were going to have fun. And now I'm sitting here in a bed and looks poorly for me, and it's maybe going on for 2 to 3 years. I don't think that it's fair that you have to spend the next 2 to 3 years caretaking for me and not doing any things we thought we'd like to do. It's nice if you, I can't even if you want to do that, I'd feel bad. Maybe I should release you from this responsibility. It'd be nice if you visited me from time to time with my friend, but I don't think it'd be fair that you have to continue in a role that you never wanted. And as I say, the longer you're with somebody, the more you accept that role. But the less time you're with somebody, the less reason you have to accept that role, and the less reason they should expect you to accept that role. And I'll say this to all people who are getting older, or anybody who's got any kind of issue. You have a responsibility to plan things so that you don't make everybody else's life miserable. And, in some countries, it's easier than others. Like, for example, if I were middle class in India, servants are cheap. I mean, I've even thought, retire to India, hire servants, because, some people object to this concept, but it doesn't cost that much. In America, I can't afford servants. I can't even afford assisted living. It's outrageous. And so what do? If I were needing something, would I just make my daughter give up her life? I have 2 sons too, but you know how that works. Do I make my daughter spend 10 years taking care of me? Or do I find another solution? Because if you're over in India and you can hire servants, you can have your mom be in the house and you can be kind to her, and she can be at dinner and she can see the grandchildren, but other people take care of her. Anybody from India knows what I'm talking about. So it's a nice situation for a person who's middle class. If you're not so middle class in India, if you're poor in India, you get to be the caretaker, and you don't get that deal at home with your own mom. So that's the way, the way of the world. But what do we do? How do we plan for the future so that we don't take everybody down with us? I want everybody to have a good life around me. I want to have a good life. But if I'm not having a good life, I don't want everybody else to have a miserable life too. So how do we work these things out? And how do we be fair? And I'm not saying I have a great answer for this, but I just think we have a responsibility, even in the worst of situations, to be concerned about other people as well. They already feel horrible for us. They feel guilty. They feel like they don't know what to do. They don't know how to help us it's very difficult. So there's a responsibility on both sides, but I just want to point out that one has to always realize that we have to be fair to everyone around us, no matter what our situation is, the best we can. Talk it out if we need to talk it out. See if we can work with other people, saying, well, okay, I have needs. I'm in a situation, but I know you have needs and you're in a situation, which is worrying about me. What can we do? And we need to be fair, and we need to be responsible people. So this article just kind of made me go, wow. I'm not saying Shannen shouldn't date, shouldn't have people around her, but she does have people around her already. I don't know that she needs to date unless she's going to say to them, just for the night, because I don't want to get hooked up into all this. I don't have great advice for her, except I think she needs to be realistic. I think she needs to be fair to other people, because just because you want to satisfy your own emotions doesn't mean you should have other people's emotions be completely upended and make them suffer. If we're suffering, we shouldn't make other people suffer. So those are just my thoughts on it. It's just kind of like, I just read it and I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, that's it. I'll put your thoughts below in the comments. Please be polite. I know a lot of people have been through situations, and I'd love to hear them, situations you've suffered in this situation by being the victim, in a sense, because you're the one who got cancer. You're the one who has a life-threatening disease. You're the one who's been in an accident and ended up in a wheelchair, whatever. And then there's the other people who are the ones who end up in caretaking positions, loving those people, wanting to care for them. What are your experiences? Because I say it gets to be a very difficult thing, but I'll say last time before I go, communication is everything. Be fair, be open in your communication, and understand that both both the person who's going through the hell and the people who are around the person going through the hell have needs and have rights, and we have to be fair to everyone involved. Anyway, that's my thoughts. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Please do hit the notification button. That's a little bell. Please do check my playlist for everything I do on true crime cases and crime scene analysis. And if you want me to give you some advice, even my particular kind of advice, please do email me at profilerpatbrown@gmail.com. And I'll see if I can answer that question. Thank you all for being here. And gosh, I hope the best of health to all of you, because it's a rough road sometimes. Bye.